What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So Lenovo finally officially announced the Lenovo Legion Go 2. And as we kind of suspected, there's going to be two models, a Z2 model, which is essentially your renamed Z1 Extreme model in the new form factor, and then the actual new Z2 Extreme model, which is of course quite pricey at $1349 USD. And we're going to talk a lot more about the pricing and stuff like that in this video. But I want to look at this video cards article to give us a general idea of the announcement. They've got their new trailer up today and that type of thing. And there's pre-orders on Best Buy. I've already put my pre-order in. So let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to take a look at this article and talk a little bit more about the Legion Go 2, Z2, and Z2 Extreme. All right, Lenovo Legion Go 2 with Ryzen Z2 series to launch at $1,099. That's the standard series, which is basically your Z1 Extreme performance for $1,099, and we'll get into more specs about that down in the article as well. And then of course we got the Z2 Extreme version at $1,349, and there's another version of that that's a little bit more expensive as well. Lenovo has finally revealed its next gaming handheld, now officially called Legion Go 2. The system comes just as ASUS is set to launch its ROG Xbox Ally, and just after MSI introduced its Claw A8 to market. Not all regions, still not available in the US. And like I've said before, over the past couple of months, I'm getting less and less interested in the MSI Claw A8, which is a shame because the 8AI Plus with Intel has been a fantastic device, one of my top devices for this year. But yeah, that thing not being available and MSI continuing to botch launches is annoying. All these systems seem to have one common problem, a high starting price. The Legion Go 2 is positioned as a high-end device, but unlike MSI's Claw and ASUS's Ally, it does bring some extra features. The Legion Go Gen 2 keeps the 8.8-inch screen size, but switches to an OLED panel, 1920 by 1200 resolution, 140 Hz, and VRR support. It also offers up to AMD's Ryzen Z2 Extreme APU with Radeon 890M graphics, paired with as much as 32 gigabytes of LPDDR5 X8000 memory and up to 2 terabytes of PCI Gen 4 Express storage here. A 74 watt hour battery, which powers everything, which is a little bit better than the older 65 or the 55 in some of these. 80 watt hours even better, but 74 is definitely going to do good. And I believe the Z2 Extreme especially, is a bit more efficient over, the older like Z1 Extreme and some other chips. So should be helpful there. Some other good stuff about the screen, not just being VRR and OLED. We've got some 500 nit brightness here, but we do have a True Black 1000 display HDR. I'll be very interested to see how the HDR pans out on this OLED. We're still at 16:10 ratio, 1200p, which I think is much better than the 1600p we had before, much more capable, usable resolution, and native landscape display this time, not a portrait that's flipped that makes things harder, especially when you're talking about frame gen and other things like that. Lenovo has redesigned its detachable TrueStrike controllers, claiming better ergonomics and smoother handling. They now include Hall effect joysticks to avoid drift, and reworked the D-pad, 3 customizable buttons, and the same vertical FPS mouse mode as before. The controllers remain backwards compatible with the original Legion Go, and I said that back in January. I was wondering if that would actually wind up being true, where you could just buy these controllers separately and put them on your original Legion Go to give it the better controller experience, which I think is a really good idea. The handheld also features 2 USB 4 ports, a headphone jack, a micro SD slot, dual speakers, and a fingerprint scanner in the power button. Weight with controllers attached is 920 grams, and without them 710. All right, so pricing in Europe starts at $999 later this month, putting it head-to-head with the MSI Claw A8, and Lenovo has not yet confirmed which configuration the entry model will use. Legion Go 2 has two models, the Z2 Extreme costing $1,349, and the Z2 costs $1,099 according to Best Buy, an official launch partner SKU. And I can pull these up over here. This is the Legion Go 2 Z2 model, 1 terabyte, 16 gigabytes of RAM for $1,099. So this is, except for the OLED display and new controllers, this is essentially an original like Legion Go, which you can still get for $699. But they have that, and then for 100 more, like $11.99, they're going to have a 32 gigabyte model, as far as I know. But what's going to be available in what regions is something else. And I've not seen that one here on Best Buy, at least for me yet, but they had this one. And then, of course, they have the Z2 Extreme model. I just pre-ordered this one because even though it killed me, I really want to be able to review it, check it out here on the channel and all of that. So I had to pull the trigger on it, but we'll see what happens. It's an October 31st release, but 32 gigabytes of RAM, 1 terabyte, $1,349. Now there's supposed to be a 2 terabyte version for $1,479, I think, but I didn't see that in this area either. But yeah, very expensive for these guys. And I'd be willing to bet $350 or so of the money on this thing is this OLED panel. At least this is a very expensive piece of the hardware that they've put in here, having a VRR capable 144 hertz 1200p OLED display in there at 8.8 inches. It's a pricey display. I also have this little chart up here where they kind of put some of the specs down, and you can see if you go over, I mean, I've been saying this plenty of times, and I know some of you guys get confused with the Z stack of chips or the Z2 stack. The only new chips we have are the AI Z2 Extreme and the Z2 Extreme. Everything under those, from the Z2, Z2A, Z2 Go, those are all older architectures and older chips. Even the regular Z2 is the Z1 Extreme. It's an 8-core, 16-thread Zen 4 at the same exact speeds in TDP, and it's also a 780M 12CU RDNA 3, which is what Z2 is. It's the exact same renamed chip in that one. So for $1,099, you're really paying for an upgrade to the OLED and controllers if you already have a Z1 Extreme there. The device I'd be interested in at all, and I think it's certainly expensive, as the Z2 Extreme model, and which is why I pre-ordered that one to check it out here, and we're going to take a look. So that's kind of everything as far as like the official announcement, kind of confirming all the specs and leaks and info we already knew. Pricing is the new piece of information, along with the October 31st release date that we got for this thing, and just the pricing really puts me in two minds for this. So it's kind of hard to say it's not worth it, because that OLED screen itself is very expensive when you're talking about that VRR OLED technology and everything else here. But the thing is, they've kind of catered to the enthusiast niche kind of market that's been asking for this stuff, and have built what looks to be a very high-end handheld. But by doing so, they're also going to shrink the market that they can sell this thing to. Not near as many people are going to be as interested or can afford it. Literally, I just paid double the price for this device of what I paid my original Legion Go 2 years ago. So we doubled in price for that, to gain 10 to 20% in performance. So if you're not someone who's investing for the OLED experience, you would be paying all that money for 10 to 20% better gaming performance. So if you're someone like me looking at performance, and price to performance is horrible when it comes to that, but you've got to really be into the OLED screen and that type of thing. So I think Lenovo's done an interesting thing here. They've definitely listened to a certain group that wanted certain things, and they've delivered on it. And again, I think it'll probably be one of the best Windows handhelds to come out this year, but not price wise, and it's going to be hard for a lot of people. So I don't think this will be near as popular or sell as well as the original Legion Go, just really based off that price. Maybe some sales later down the line, or things get cheaper. But $1,350 plus tax, putting me at almost $1,440 for me here. I just think that's going to be too much for a lot of people to get into. But you guys will have to let me know what you think in the comments down below. I've heard a lot of different things from different people today about being excited, can't wait to get their hands on the display. Other people saying, well, I'm not going to be ordering that, I can't either afford it or don't want to. And I still think mainstream handheld pricing is $300 to $600. That's where the Switch and the Steam Deck and even some of these other devices now fall in. Z1 Extremes even fall into that $500-$600 category now, and stuff like that. Even up to $700, $800, $900 for a premium handheld. Okay, you're in the PC space, you're shrinking everything down. When we start getting to $1,000 and more, like over $1,000, you're really shrinking down the amount of people that can buy your device, experience, and get into it. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but for a mainstream company like Lenovo, I was really hoping we'd push the other direction for handhelds, more affordable, more available for people and that type of thing. And maybe in a couple years, we'll get there. But again, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I can kind of ramble on about this, because I really am in a lot of different minds when it comes to this thing. But it certainly is expensive for Z2 and Z2 Extreme on this one. Anyways, thanks a lot for coming to check out the video. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.